myself, Chris. I'm going to be your host for this particular live stream session. Thank you for those who are going to be jumping in, or if you want to watch this afterwards, by all means, do so and leave comments and so on. So this is my second attempt live stream. Let's see how well this goes, eh? But because it's midweek, I wanted to give you this midweek update to how I'm getting on in my own journey. And obviously, I've got a few other bits and pieces I want to go through with you. Before we even begin, if you're new to all of this, so like I said, my name's Chris. I am currently 7.5 weeks into my Mounjaro journey. So taking Mounjaro as part of a weight loss routine. And last time I checked, which was Sunday, which are my weigh days, I was, well, just shy of 35 pounds down, which, again, if you've been following me this way, it's very good, but I've got a very long way to go. I mean, I'm well in the 200 in terms of pounds I need to lose, okay? But nonetheless, a very good start, as you might say. How have you all been? Obviously, it was a bank holiday weekend, and for those of you who don't know, that means that most places don't allow you to work because they're closed, except for if you work in, like, hospitality or something, then I'm afraid you still work. Is what it is, I'm afraid. But no, you saw in the video, I had a great time, obviously spent time with my girls, and yeah, so then on Monday, it was just spending another day with my other half before she then went back to work on Tuesday. But I've got this whole week off, and it's causing some problems, or has caused some problems. Before I go into that, I want to sort of talk about, obviously, in this video, what is going to happen if you're at this point in terms of the Mounjaro journey, what you're kind of experiencing. I want to go into like what my particular week has been like, and I want to go into some updates on Mounjaro as well, some things to do with funding of this, which I want to sort of look into, just discuss with you. And I want to also go into a particular time of this week where I had probably my biggest difficulty moment in terms of motivation and stuff. But then I wanted to show you and tell you what I did to get over it, really, you know, and to help myself. As per usual, I'm joined by an extremely milky cup of tea, which is going to disgust a large percentage of people on here. So I do apologize about that. But yes, so basically this week, so what's been going on? So like I said, I've been away from work. I did say in my last video that this is potentially going to cause some problems. Why is it going to cause problems? Well, my work is, although I work at home, work from home, sorry, it is very intense. It's very sort of someone who you need to be on the ball with it all the time. It's a lot of information. And so because of that, you keep yourself preoccupied. And as I said before, keeping yourself preoccupied helps the brain, because instead of the brain going on about, oh, let's eat that donut, let's eat this, let's eat that, you're distracted. And I'm somebody who needs that distraction, to be honest. I really do, because my brain otherwise just goes and starts thinking about all the things that I can eat. Well, this week, I think the gods have conspired against me, because obviously, I mean, my other half, she's at work, so it's just myself. The cats don't give me much encouragement, bastards. But what I have found is that, my God, the weather has changed. Right? Okay, so we went from scorching heat to from this sort of like arid desert landscape to now we have rain. Okay, and so all my plans for basically going out and doing things and being preoccupied, I look outside and go, oh, it's wet. Can't really do anything. So I've been somewhat sort of housebound, really, in a way. Techie Fennec, hello, thank you for jumping onto this and for commenting. So yeah, being inside has caused problems because I've been trying to keep myself busy with housework and other things, but there has been problems. There has been a lot of problems because ultimately, what are we doing? What am I doing? You know. And, you know, it's something that I expected. It's always something that's going to be an issue. I think some people sort of said to me, you know, or go for a walk, sorry, which is what I did today. And I'm going to go into that for my video on Sunday when I do my next weigh-in. But other people have sort of said, you know, do your hobbies. Well, I like to game, but there's only so much of that I can do. Things around the house, that's kind of what I've been doing. But I'll tell you what, something that's helped is watching you guys. So first of all, what I want to do is to sort of say congratulations to everybody out there who's on this journey. Amazing results. I saw somebody who had a comment the other day. Was it yesterday I saw? But they said they lost over like £100, like £110. What? I mean, I know that's what I've got to lose, plus the next half as well. But it's encouraging for me to be able to see somebody who has just lost that much amount, and how much better you must feel. You know, you really must be able to feel so much better. Feather Cat, hello. How are you? Good to hear from you on here. By the way, the cats aren't about. We've got one cat that's out there. We've got the ragdoll Peggy, who's like, I never come in. I never come in. And then we've got Stanley, who's in the living room, who thinks it's his meal time when he's actually about an hour and a half, 2 hours early, because he's a fat pig, just like me. So absolutely, you know, you guys are doing great with it. You're doing great with your weight loss. How are you guys finding it? How do you guys deal with being off work? Because I think this is something that I need to learn about. Ultimately, I think probably going forward, I need to give myself sort of plans for each day to sort of say, right, well, on Monday, I'll do this. Tuesday, I'll do that. Wednesday, I'll do that. As much as I don't particularly like to do plans, I think probably until my brain starts getting in the right place, I need to be able to focus in on what it is that I need to do each day. Oh, I'm going to lose you there. You nearly fell over. What it is I need to do each day just to keep myself occupied. Okay. But one thing I did come across, and I did give her a shout out in my last video, Sparkles, who we now obviously know is Naomi. Okay. I watched Sparkles' video, and to be honest with you, as much as I like the and I come across very much as like the hyperactive and this, that, and the other, sometimes it's just nice to hear the sort of the in-depth personal story. And like I said, I think I mentioned in her comment, if you by all means go and watch her latest video, it's very it's captivating, to be honest, because to hear somebody's life, because you see people and you just think of them as they are now. We are all products of the journeys that we've made. Okay, and so our paths have led us to where we are now. Now, those paths have not always been in great sunshine. They've sometimes gone to very dark places. But yet, here we are. Okay, and so I highly recommend you watch her video. But the comment that I made on her video, which I think is quite telling, is this idea that I have seen on documentaries, quite a few documentaries, where you've got somebody who is overweight. And I think a lot of it has been when I've been watching like the My 600 Pound Life, where they sort of try to delve deep into, well, where has this obsession with food come from? And I think there's been numerous times, I think, when part of their story has been, well, when I was a child, either we were poor or we were deprived, and food was not always there. It just wasn't always a thing, you know, maybe either because of neglect or because of low income. And so food was basically a luxury. And then so the idea of suddenly now having food and doing that. And so they would just basically just keep eating because, you know, this is something that we didn't used to have. And I think that's interesting. I mean, it's not my background. Mandus, that's good. Hi, hello, welcome to the live stream, wherever you are. It's not my background because food wasn't an issue. Mine was more of a case of you had to eat your food. Okay, it wasn't a good idea to leave, not because something would have happened. I wouldn't have got beat or anything like that, but it was sort of instilled into me. You eat your food. Okay. Effort has been put into this. We haven't got the greatest amounts of money. You eat it. Okay, and you know, that in itself has caused its own sort of thing, and the sort of the correlation between food and emotion, because I'm an emotional eater and I think other people are as well. But it was interesting to hear about Naomi's story, and the story that she had was, as she kind of implied herself, it was sort of, I think, tip of the iceberg. And bless her, you know, she hasn't got to go into the ins and outs of what happened. I can only imagine. But it was enough to be able to get a reflection on this person's life and how a person can end up in this position, especially with a relationship with food. And you know, God bless her for making that video. And although I've given her a shout out in my previous video, honestly, go and watch her. Sparkles, basically, she's got these videos which are very much about, kind of like natters. You know, they're just sort of like chats between friends. And that video, yeah, it makes you think. It puts things in perspective, puts things you sort of recall on your own life. And I don't know. I mean, how many? It makes you wonder how many people who are coming across all happy and jokey and laughy and that. What dark roads did their life go through to get to this point? And even if they share things with you, how much of the actual whole iceberg are you even seeing or hearing about? So a huge amount of respect for that bravery to go into that information on there. I don't have anything that, no, apples and oranges maybe, but I have things that I could go into. Maybe not for now, definitely not for now. Maybe for another video. I certainly don't want mine to be sort of turned into a bit like what Sparkle said, sort of a pity party. There's nothing much to be really pity about when it comes to me, especially when I listen to other people's stories. And I don't want the theme of my videos to be, you know, oh, these are things I've gone through and all that. But I think every now and again it'd be nice just to sort of have a bleh kind of video where I can go into things. Okay. So yeah. So other than that, how is everybody doing? How is everyone getting on? How are you feeling about this week with your weight loss journey? It's only halfway through the week for me. I'm not so sure about this week. Not that I've particularly eaten much that I shouldn't have done, but I don't know. I think just the food noise has been more this week. I mean, Sunday is going to be my first jab of 5 milligram. I had to think about what it was then. 5 milligrams. So that's going to be interesting to see if it affects. So yeah, I hope everybody's okay. So there's potential updates about Mounjaro. And I don't know if many people know about this or not, but I've kind of heard whispers and I think I've seen some bits and pieces about it. So, right, long story short, for those of you who are not from the UK, I think many UK vloggers will have talked about this, but we do have private healthcare, but we generally, as a rule, have the National Health Service. So you will pay contributions towards this in your own wages under what's called national insurance. Okay, so that goes towards funding the NHS. And so essentially, if you went to go have an operation, you wouldn't have to pay for it. You would literally go have a date, you'd go in, you'd have the operation, you wouldn't then be landed with 12 grand debt or some of payment that you need to make. And if you are prescribed a piece of some kind of medication from a doctor or whoever it might be, there's like a flat fee for any medication. It's £9 something. It's heading towards £10, regardless of how much that medication costs. So it's a good system in principle when you've got a lot less people in the country and the system isn't on its arse, which it is at the moment. I think through the best will in the world of people, some people who work in the NHS, it's broken. It's not working. There's too many people wanting to use a service. It's the same as anything, right? You put too much pressure on any system, it's going to get overloaded. It doesn't work. It becomes rickety. Problems start occurring where they weren't before, and then there isn't enough. You end up firefighting, basically. Obviously, a lot of people have made comment about, you know, should this Mounjaro be available on the NHS? And it took a long while. I think America is further along with us in terms of recognizing Mounjaro, using it, and so on. But the way it's currently been rolled out, because it has rolled out on the NHS, but it's very sparsely. So it's only for people who are highest priority, should we say. So they wouldn't have to pay the however much you're paying for Mounjaro. It'd be prescribed to them. I don't know if you would still, I mean, others help me out here. If you're getting it from the NHS, are you still paying £9 something for it, or are they just giving it to you? I don't know. Just leave it in the comments below. But they're, like I said, they're only giving it out to the highest priority at the moment, because I think they're dipping their toe in the water a little bit with this to see how it goes. Because as you can imagine, there's a huge upsurge of people who want to have it, because one of the big things that puts pressure on the NHS system, apart from masses of people, are illnesses or anything that related to obesity. And so here comes a drug which can help with that. And of course, a lot of people, not only do they want to get smaller, but they also want to say, well, look, this is going to save you lots of money. This is going to help the country in terms of the, you know, the stresses and the pressures on the NHS. Roll it out. Okay. Well, I have had an update on this. Whether there's much validity in this, or whether this is just speculation, or whether this is just in the discussion stage, is that the country's looking to roll into the next stage of putting Mounjaro on the NHS. And the update has been that they are now, instead of just those that are on the highest need of it, the next group of people that are going to be included in it are people who are on low income. Okay. So the idea, from what I understand, is that if your household, or I don't know if they're going to do household or if they're going to do individually, if you yourself are come under as low income, so a low income family or person or household, whatever it might be, then they're going to be next ones that they're going to be looking to be what's the word? I don't even know what the word is. You're going to be accepted for it, should we say? You're going to be accepted for it on the NHS. You're going to be apart from the highest, the ones who are the most need, it's then going to be low-income families. So what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about people on benefits. We're talking universal credit. We're talking, I don't know what they deem to be low income. I mean, with the cost of living crisis, I would imagine probably about 95% of the country is about low-income family at the minute. And how they're going to means test this and how this is going to be rolled out, I don't know. But the suggestion is that with the Mounjaro process on the NHS, they are looking to roll it out first with low-income families or people or households. Let's just stick with low income, okay? So what do you think about this? Let's think of this a different way. If you're not low income, you're still having to spend the 100 and some odd, however it might be, pounds for the pen. You get your 4 injections and that. But because it's 4 injections, you're going to have to order another one in readiness for the end of the month. So actually you're getting 2 in a month, thereabouts, depending on how it lands. Is this another way of the health service or the government basically saying, well, if you earn, then you should be fine? Okay, because I'm telling you what, there'll be a lot of people who don't take this because it costs too much, which I can understand. So there'll be low-income people who will want this, and they're currently not being able to get hold of it because they're not high priority and they don't earn enough in terms of, well, there's no way I'm going to spend 100 and some odd a month or whatever it might be on the pen. So it's good for them, but then you get the rest of people who are always in that sort of category between low earners and high earners. You'll get this sort of middle ground, and it's always then this little bit just above the low earners that always get tonked with everything. So not quite poor enough to be on benefits, not rich enough to do anything else, basically. It's this little strip, and it's not really a little strip. I think there's a lot of the population fall in this strip that's just above low earner, that eventually you're just going to come to a point where you're like, well, I can't pay for this, and I can't pay for that, and this, and that, and this. Something's going to have to go. And is it just going to come a point where people are just be like, well, look, this is a luxury. I mean, I know your health is high priority, but in the short term, people might, eventually, if this cost of living crisis continues, people might just be like, well, look, it was a good idea. I will give up the Mounjaro because I need to have a phone or fuel for my car. So maybe they would give it up. And I don't know. I think it's going to be definitely something that I think will depend on what they deem as low income. I kind of have an idea what that would be. I think that is just going to be your are you a recipient of benefits, I think is probably what that's going to be. What do you think? What do you think about this? If it turns out to be true, well, then is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it something that they wish they would have gone a bit further and maybe did the wage bracket to sort of a higher amount so it incorporates more people? You tell me. You tell me in the comments. But that's an update at the moment. So just to recap, if you've just sort of come into this, there is rumblings that when it comes to the NHS allowing people to have Mounjaro, they currently have people who are the highest priority top and the only ones who can have it. They are contemplating rolling this out next to people who are on low income. Okay. Obviously, we wait to hear about that to see if there's any updates. The Health Secretary, if there's anything that comes from them. I mean, they're too busy fighting fires of their own at the moment. You don't sort of tend to get much of an official thing from the NHS. So let's wait and see, shall we? And I just wanted to kind of round this off a little bit with talking about a particular thing that happened this week, which I count under the non-scale victories, because I want to end this on a high. Okay. Tuesday, so yesterday. Yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. I don't know. I think I was feeling quite flat. I was feeling a bit like I don't want to do anything. I'm a bit I was having the food noise going in my head. I wasn't feeling my best. And there was stuff I wanted to do, and then I was just like, I can't be asked. And at that moment then, even though I've only been on the journey, the weight loss journey for just over 7 weeks, I started playing my videos from the start. So way back to my first video, I think I went up to video 4, something like that, and I just watched them. And I put myself, well, I saw myself for a start. So, I mean, I'm obviously going to look thin, but I can tell that I look smaller than I did then. So I'm looking at myself from the past, talking about the difficulties of being obese, the issues that I was having, the horrible effects on my weight I was having, why I'm doing this for my family, for my partner, for my girls, people worrying about that I'm just going to drop dead because of a heart attack. And that really helped me. It helped me put things back in perspective, and also made me reflect on this journey I've had and where I am now. And the fact that 7 weeks in, this is the amount I've lost. This is how I now feel compared to then. And I don't know if I want to say I felt proud. I think I felt good that I'm no longer there. I'm now here. And in 7 weeks' time, I would rather be there wherever I am than where I am here. But it's this continual journey. But you do sometimes have to look back and think to yourself, that's where I was. That was the whole point I was doing these videos, so I could look back. If I'm having a bad time, I even said in one of my first videos, I want to do these videos because if I'm having a bad day, I can look back at them. And that's exactly what I did. I took my own medicine there, okay, from myself, from the past. And it worked. It really worked, because I was listening to myself. I was listening to the problems that I was having. And then I was thinking, I'm so glad I'm here where I am now compared to then. And so that helped. That helped a great deal. And I combined that with something else, and somebody else I want to sort of talk about. Now, this person's famous. This person's famous on YouTube, and I absolutely adore this guy and this channel. So it's the Dry Creek Wrangler School. So Dwayne, okay. So cowboy, beard, hat, cigar, talking absolute sense, okay. And he was doing a video all about, I think he was using the kind of the analogy of fixing your fence. So he said, you know, you fix your fence, you may think there's all these things I need to do, you know, where do I even start? And I think his emphasis was more on the fact of you take one thing at a time, okay? Instead of looking the whole picture, you focus in on one thing. And even if it takes you all day to do, you've done that job, okay? And it was a part of it. And it doesn't matter if all the things that you need to do, he said years, you know, I mean, it can be days, hours, days, weeks, months, whatever, years. As long as you're working towards improving or doing or assisting with something, then that's the main thing. Now, he likened it to problems in marriages and things like that. But he said at the end of this video, you can apply this to whatever situation you're in at the moment. And I thought to it, and I thought, there's a lot of things that need doing around the house, and I'm not planning to do all of them today. And I think it'd be stupid to do all of them today. So instead of just being sat there for a lot of the day, which was just in this sort of funk, you know, should be pleased with myself because I've done so well with the weight loss and I'm in a good place. I'm also reducing my antidepressants as well. So that is something that I'm really working on getting rid of entirely because I would love to be clean from them. Instead of that, I just thought to myself, I just need to start doing something. So I cleaned all the bathrooms, okay? And it's not a job I particularly like doing. I mean, there aren't many jobs I do like doing, but I do them, you know. But instead of just sat there and thinking, oh, there's all these things that I need to do, and there's all this work that needs doing, and this needs cleaning, and that needs cleaning, I just thought, just start, you know. And I found myself just working through the bathrooms, clean, you know, but doing it really good, you know, spending a lot of time on it, listening to videos and stuff like that to sort of keep my brain occupied. But then I just naturally found myself then doing other things and this, that, and the other. And then by the end of the day, I thought, no, I'm pleased with this because I've done all these different jobs. And there I was a few hours ago, sat on the sofa, just sort of like, don't do anything, you know. And I think that just helped me. And I think that combined with listening to myself from 7 weeks ago, that helped. And so for those of you who are doing your own videos, and for those of you who aren't doing videos, maybe it's a good idea that you would start. Because if you use this correctly, you can look back to old videos to yourself and think, this is where I've come. This is how far I've got. And it's amazing because, like I said, it's only 7 weeks ago that I made these videos. So it's not the longest of time. I'm not talking like a year, 2 years, or anything like that. So, but still, it was enough for me to listen to it and go, do you know what? Me, whatever, you're right. This is why I'm doing it. This is where I get those difficult moments because it's not all going to be plain sailing. You can get those difficult moments where you think to yourself, oh, I'm a bit of a rut. Use your videos. Your videos are going to help you to realize that's where you started. This is where you are now. And it's important for you to do that because if you don't, you're going to lose sight of the path that you've just traveled. Okay. And the path is the important thing. You know, you can look back at anything. You can apply this for anything in your life. But in this case, you can look back and say, these were all the difficult days I had on the weight loss journey. These are the good times. These are the tricky times. These are the times I didn't know how I was going to cope. But here I am. And I think it's amazing to be able to use your own videos as a boost. It's nice to have a community. It's nice to have other people saying you're doing really well and, you know, and this is how I've done and this is some ideas that you could follow. And I think that's important. But to use yourself from the past as a boost by looking at yourself and going, I was there, now I'm here. I don't want to stay. I mean, I can do it. I've got to here. I want to continue going down this path. That's why I would say to you, if you are on a weight loss journey, even if you make the videos private to yourself, because not everybody can do this crap like I'm doing, but if you just do videos for yourself, it's going to help you, because you're going to have difficult moments. I've had a difficult moment. I've had a couple of difficult moments in this week, but if you can use that, why not? Why not do it and then couple it up with motivational videos or getting inspiration from the rest of the community? That's what I would say, and it's helped me. It's helped me, even as well as I've done. I've still had my kind of moments, and it's worked. Okay. Right, folks, I'm just going to leave it there. Okay, I wanted to go over those updates. Obviously, if you're watching this afterwards, chuck a like, put a comment on below. Let me know how you're getting on your journey. But like I said, you know, we've got some updates here. My next video is going to be on Sunday with my next weigh-in, whatever that's going to be like. But good to see you all. And in the meantime, please look after yourself and leave the kids alone. They don't like it. Bye, everyone. Be good.